Hey guys, Ash here from C4E Tech, and today we're going to be doing another PC build video. Recently I did a time-lapse of that 3900K build, and today in this video, now this is the follow-up where I'm gonna explain what I chose and why. And before the end of the video, we'll also take a look at some gameplay, some benchmarks, just to see how Intel's latest Core i9 3900K holds up. Now before we begin, fair disclaimer, Gigabyte did organize a lot of these parts, so if you do plan on building something similar, and if you end up finding a better deal from a competitor, by all means go ahead with that. And with that disclaimer done and dusted, let's now get started. So first up, let me start with my case choice. I decided to go with Cougar's Darkblader S. This is a full tower case, one with ample room, especially for cooling. Now I've gone with a 360mm rad up top for this build, but if you wanted, you could mount that to the front just as easily. I like the fact that this case even supports extended ATX motherboards and graphics cards up to 380mm in length. I am also a fan of the aesthetics. We get some RGB and an aluminum front panel with tempered glass on both sides. Now if I were being perfectly honest, guys, I could have done without the glass to the back, since that does complicate cable management. It makes it a pain. But hey, Cougar did at least have the common sense to provide a cover channel to handle the cables. Not just there, the metal you see here, this once again helps hide the cables whilst also providing support for the graphics card. Now with this case, you can add 4 2.5-inch or 3.5-inch drives. I do, however, find it funny that Cougar once again did not provide a Type-C port to the front. Now weirdly enough, you remember the Dust 2 case that I built in a while back? That one had Type-C to the front. And that's a case for an ITX board. Guys, ITX boards are where everything but the necessities are cut down by motherboard manufacturers because, they want to cram in as much as possible into that super small form factor. So usually with the ITX boards, front panel Type-C is not priority. It's something motherboard manufacturers tend to omit. I kind of find it super ironic that Cougar cuts front panel Type-C out of full tower cases that support eATX boards, whilst providing it on mini cases meant for ITX boards. Anyways, ironies aside, talking about motherboards, my board of choice here was the Z790 Aorus Master. It boasts of their best ever VRM design with PCIe 5.0 support and allows for DDR5 RAM with XMP 3.0 support. It's also packed with all the expansion options you could ask for, including 5 M.2 slots for a ton of storage, all with that screwless design that we saw in the last build video. Other goodies include 10 gigabit LAN, Wi-Fi 6E support, and of course, RGB. Now I did populate one of these M.2 slots with a 2TB Aorus Gen 4 NVMe. This one gets us 5 Gbps reads and 2.5 Gbps writes, so pretty sweet. And then we get to the processor. Now that is the reason we are doing this build in the first place. This is Intel's latest flagship Core i9, the 13900K. This one sports 24 cores, 8 performance cores with multi-threading and 16 efficiency cores, making for a total of 32 effective threads. It also has a max turbo frequency of 5.8 GHz. In other words, it's a beast. Now for memory, I went with 4 16GB sticks of Aorus 5200 MHz DDR5 RAM for a total of 64 gigs. And with the power supply, I wanted something modular, and the 80 plus gold Aorus AP850W fit the bill. Now for the cooler, the X360 Waterforce, a 360mm rad is what I was looking for, and this is a good one. It gets the job done. As you'll see once we get to the gaming and benchmarks part of this video, it keeps the temps under check, and the fans, they also remain pretty silent. The LCD display that can be turned 330 degrees, it adds some panache, some character. It was just icing on the cake. Now for the graphics card, well, this was a little disappointing. It was my backup option. I waited till the very last minute for a 4090 that never arrived. Thank you, Gigabyte. Guys, if you are looking to build a balls to the walls gaming rig, the 4090 of course it'll definitely be the way to go. That said, the 3080, jokes apart, it isn't a bad card by any means. For the price, it still gets a lot of performance. It's still pretty much top tier. And you know what, let's cut the talking out and see how it actually holds up. Now before we really do that, a quick note: this build, while good for testing with regards to thermals and everything, it isn't technically complete. Because as of right now, there is negative pressure on the inside of this case, since all the fans, if you see, they are pushing air out, meaning fresh air is going to be coming in from everywhere and ergo not passing a dust filter. So if it continues running the same way it is right now, it's going to get dusty real quick. So if I were to use this as my daily driver, or if you're building a PC similar to this, what I would suggest is adding a dust filter and flipping that rear exhaust, and also adding 3 fans to the front for intake, so that any air coming in will pass dust filters, and that would help keep the PC clean, which in turn will help maintain temps over a longer period of time. Anyway, with that said, let's now get to the game, starting with Cyberpunk 2077. Here it's running at 4K with the Ray Tracing Ultra preset. DLSS is enabled. As you can see, the GPU is maxed out. The CPU, it's just chilling because, hey, gaming, not particularly CPU intensive, at least not for this one. We end up with an average of 51 FPS with a max of 64 and a minimum of 40. I benchmarked this game once again, but this time with the resolution set to 1440p, and we averaged 97 FPS with it staying over 55 throughout. Next up was Forza Horizon 5. This game should be able to run at 4K over 60 FPS, no issues given what we just saw on the other rig. And we have an average of 74 FPS. This is at 4K with the extreme preset nonetheless. I also gave GTA 5 a shot, 4K with every setting cranked right up to max. It did stay at around the 60 FPS mark for the most part. Now just turning 1 or 2 of the advanced graphic settings down a little bit should let this rig hit a stable 4K 60. Finally, time for Spider-Man Remastered. Once again, 4K with everything maxed out. This game constantly kept hitting close to 150 FPS. Very solid performance. For benchmarks, I tried out 3D Mark Firestrike Ultra, and here's the score on screen. And for the CPU, I ran Cinebench R23, 36,700-ish for multi-core and 2550 for single-core. Now, if I remember correctly, the AMD competition, the Ryzen 9 7950X, it did about the same with respect to multi-core, maybe 3–4% higher. You know what? I'll actually have the numbers on screen now, but the 3900K, it does fare better with single core by about 10–11%. Overall, pretty close to the 7950X. And I guess that's pretty much it for my 13900K build. Please let me know how I can improve these kind of PC build videos. I am returning to this format after a long time, and I'm very much open to your suggestions. In fact, I request you to leave your suggestions on the format. If there is something that I could have done differently, let me know in the comments below. And with that, I guess it's time for me to bid you adieu. Thanks for your time. Thanks for watching. Until next time, my name's Ash. You've been watching C4E Tech. And I'm signing off for now. You guys have a great day. Bye-bye.